Okay, so in this case, we'll have a really basic intro on functions. Basically, the whole idea of functions, which are very important, and is the idea of inputs and outputs. So function is you have an input, suppose that's x. Function is this thing that does something to x, or if maybe not, doesn't do anything, but some process kind of equation. Usually, it's an equation or function or something. I use function again, but function is just some, like an equation. It does something to the input, and you get an output. And one important thing is that you only get one output, like a single output. So this is not a function. If you put in one input and you get two outputs from the same input, that is not considered really a function. So for example, if you write down coordinates in a graph, maybe if you have 2, 3, and you have 2, 4, that is not, like, that would be considered a function, because for 2, that's your input. You have 3 and you have 4. That's not possible. So again, functions, it will be like 2 maps to 3, 3 maps to, this is fine. As long as, like, you can have multiple, like, same outputs maybe, but each input, so 2 is an input, it only has one output, which is 3. 3 is one input, it only has one output. Yeah, but you can have, you could do this as well. That's fine. But yeah, as long as, actually, that is not fine. That's not fine. That would mean this input has two answers, so that is not fine. What I meant to say is you could do multiple, like, so if you have one output, one input, you could do the same, like you can have two going to the same thing. But again, there's one output for each input, if that makes sense. So for example, some function is usually written as f of x, I don't know, x over 2. So what it does is takes an input x and halves it, divides by 2, and that's your answer. So if you gave it 2, it will, take in 2, then it will plug it in. You basically plug it in mathematically. 2 divided by 2 is 1. It gives an output of 1. And this function is valid because it only gives you, one output again, single output. If you put in 3, 3, it's just 3 divided by 2, like, and stuff like that. And that's how it usually does, like, that's how you usually know it's a function. Yeah. So again, the important part is you have input x, this something happens here, and then one single output for each input. That's a very important part of function. And then most functions are like equations, so you do the same math processes.